Hey DJs, in this video I'm going to give you a detailed overview of DJ Planning Center and show you how it can revolutionize your DJ business. If you have never heard of us before, DJ Planning Center is a modern event planning app your clients can use to create playlists, select special songs, answer questionnaires, and build a timeline. There is also an administrative side where you as the DJ can manage your events, create contracts, send invoices, and much more. Let's dive in. First, we'll take a look at the client side. When they log in, they will see a countdown to their event, along with an option to upload a custom photo. They can also view information about their venue and contact you by phone, email, or text with the tap of a button. Moving on to the Music tab, they will be greeted with a message that asks them to select the special events they would like to include in their event. Now, this is where I'd like to pause and explain the concept of special event templates. This is the heart and soul of the music selection feature in DJ Planning Center. The purpose of a template is to give direction to your client by providing a list of all possible special events that they might want to include, while also giving them the freedom to add custom events if they would like. As the DJ, your clients are going to look to you for your expertise, so this is meant to help guide your clients if they don't know where to start. Let's jump over to the website to see what it looks like to set up a special event template. We have sample templates you can use as a starting point, or you can create one from scratch. This is an example of a wedding template with two different sections, ceremony and reception. You can add as many special events as you would like to a section and reorder them as needed. Each special event can be configured as either a special song or playlist. This is an important distinction because it determines how the client will select songs. A special song might be something like a grand entrance or first dance, whereas a playlist might be something like cocktail hour or dinner. The main difference is that clients can select special songs directly from the main music page, whereas tapping on a playlist will navigate them to a separate screen where they can add multiple songs. A song limit can also be set for each one if you would like to cap their selections. To give your clients recommendations for songs, a recommended playlist can be assigned to each special event. DJ Planning Center provides default playlists. However, you can create custom recommended playlists under the Setup menu and select them here. Once a special event template is created, you can simply select it when creating an event. Jumping back to the app, the client will see the special event template that is assigned to them when they tap on the button. This is where they can choose the special events they would like to include in their event. Once the events are selected, they can dive in and start selecting music by searching Spotify or Apple Music. Recommended songs will appear for the specific special event they selected, or they can search for songs in the search bar. Once a song is selected, they can add an optional note to give you more details. You can also reorder the items in a section by tapping on the arrows icon. Simply drag and drop the special events to rearrange them. Switching over to the Preferences tab, this is where your clients can provide high-level preferences for what music they would like you to play. They can select from a list of genres that are completely customizable in your account settings and add notes to provide further details. You can also assign custom generic playlists like Must Play, Play if possible, or Do Not Play for music selections outside the context of any specific special event. These playlists can be customized per event or removed completely. Moving on to the Questions tab, this is where you can assign one or more questionnaires to gather more information from your clients. As they answer questions, everything is saved automatically as they go. The next tab is where they can build out a timeline for their event. Sections can be used to logically group events together, using ceremony and reception as an example. When adding an item to the timeline, they can choose to select a special event from the template or add a custom item. If items are linked to special events that are selected on the Music tab, the song selections will automatically populate under it. On the Menu tab, your clients can select a profile picture and view more information pertaining their event, such as the services they booked and any contracts or invoices that are assigned to them. It's important to note that anything the client can do through the app can also be done through a client portal on our website if they choose to use a computer or mobile browser. Now that we have explored the client side, let's take a look at the admin side when you log in as the DJ. When you log in as an admin, you will see a completely different interface that will allow you to view and manage your events. We'll start here on the dashboard. The first thing you will see is a View Calendar button that will take you to a calendar with all your events and time off requests. A blue dot will display under the days you have an event, and a gray dot will indicate time off. If you are a multi-op, you can filter which events display based on which staff members they are assigned to. Select all of them to easily see all of your company's events and who is available on any given day. The next button on the dashboard is just a quick way to navigate to a specific date to check your availability. A few quick taps, and you will be navigated to that day on the calendar. Scrolling down further on the dashboard, you will see any upcoming events you might have, along with some stats about your events. You can toggle an option to show all of your company's events on the dashboard, or just the ones assigned to you. Moving on to the Tasks tab, this is where you will see any tasks that are assigned to you for that day. A workflow can be assigned to each event with a list of tasks that should be completed at different time intervals. For example, you can create a task to remind you to initiate a planning meeting 3 weeks before the event. The due date will automatically be calculated, and the task will show here when it's due. If the task involves sending a text or email, tapping on the task will populate a text message or email for you to quickly send to your client. Once the task is finished, simply mark it as complete, and it will be removed the next time the screen is refreshed. The Events tab is where you can view all of your events organized by stages. Events can be moved through these stages depending on where they are in the process. I'll show you later in this video how to customize and reorder these stages under your account settings depending on your desired workflow. The filter icon at the top gives you the option to only show events that are assigned to certain staff members. Tapping into an event will allow you to view its details. Under the Overview tab, you will see the stage, venues, clients, and staff members that are assigned to the event. Information about your client's activity is displayed under each client to give you an insight into whether or not they have accepted your invitation, if they have downloaded the app, and when they last logged in. You can also call, message, or email them with the tap of a button. Tapping on Services will allow you to view and manage all of the packages and add-ons that have been assigned to the event. The Documents page shows any contracts and invoices you have created, along with some options to view the documents, share a link, or download a PDF. The Financials page shows a breakdown of the line items, the booking fee, and any payments that have been made. If you have a workflow assigned to the event, you can view all of your tasks on the workflow screen and update their status here. Switching to the Planning tab, this is where you can view and edit the client's music selections, questionnaires, and timeline. Tapping into each one of these will simulate what the client will see and allow you to make updates to collaborate with them. You can also share read-only links or download a PDF of all the information that has been entered. Moving over to the Notifications tab, this is where you will see any recent activity from your clients. When your client makes a change to their event, you will see it here along with receiving a push notification and email based on your notification preferences. The Menu tab is where you can manage your settings and view features such as pricing guides and booking requests. We will take a deeper dive into pricing guides later in this video. However, this is a way for you to create a link that you can send to potential clients with information about your services. If they fill out the form on the pricing guide, you will receive a notification, and their information will display here as a booking request. This will show you everything they have submitted along with a quick glance at which staff members are available that day. You can also manage your email and push notifications from this menu as well. Now that we have explored the mobile app, let me give you a quick tour of the web interface that manages all of your account settings. When you log into the website, you have access to all of the same features as the mobile app, plus a lot more. Let's start by looking at the calendar. This is where you can see all of your events and time off for any given month and apply filters if needed. By selecting a date, you can choose to add an event or time off right from this page. The task page will show any outstanding tasks that are due based on the workflows that have been assigned to your events. Once you have finished a task, you can mark it as complete here. As I mentioned before, pricing guides are a way for you to send potential clients information about your services. After you set up all the packages and add-ons that your company offers within the system, you can choose which ones to include in your pricing guide. You can also choose to include an optional contact form that will allow the client to indicate they are interested in booking your services. The final output will be a link that you can send to your client that will showcase your services and pricing. Any contact forms that are submitted will be emailed to you and appear on the booking request page. You can quickly see the submitted information as well as which staff members are available on the requested event date. The events page will show a list of all of your events in a single location. Similar to the app, events are organized in stages. Clicking on the Settings link will allow you to customize your list of stages and what order they appear on the events page. You can also choose to hide a stage if you want to archive certain events. Stages can be updated directly from the events page by selecting the options icon next to the event. You can also toggle between a list view or grid view when viewing your events. Selecting the download button will generate a PDF of all the events within the selected filters. Clicking into an event will display its details. The Overview tab will show you the stage, event details, venue, clients, and staff members. The Services tab is where you can manage all of the packages and add-ons that are assigned. The Financials tab will show you the breakdown of the services and totals for the event. The Documents tab will allow you to view or download PDFs of all the event information, including music selections, answers to questionnaires, and the completed timeline. This is also where you would manage any contracts or invoices that have been generated for this event. The Planning tab is where you will find all of your clients' music selections, questionnaires, and event timeline. When viewing the music selections, the Actions menu will allow you to download a PDF of their song requests or export all music to a CSV or text file. This file can then be used by other external platforms to convert the song list to crates for your DJ software. Navigating to the timeline will give you a preview along with options to edit, share, or download the information. If you need to add or remove questionnaires after the event is created, you can do that here in the Questionnaire section. Clicking on the Special Event template will allow you to view and modify the template you selected when the event was created. Special events can be added, removed, or reordered if needed. Any changes made to this template will only apply to this event. If for some reason you need to swap out the entire special event template, you can do this by selecting Switch Template. This should be used with caution because it will remove all of the client's planning data along with the old template. Moving on to the Contracts page, this is where you can view contracts across all of your events. Filtering by status will help you see which contracts are outstanding and which are completed. You can also see all the signers for each contract at a glance and tell whether or not they have signed the document. We'll dive a little deeper into contracts when we talk about contract templates. The next few pages allow you to manage all of your clients, staff members, and venues. They are pretty self-explanatory. However, I want to point out a very important aspect of managing your staff members. If you navigate to a specific profile, you will see a permissions section. This is where you would control what your staff members are able to do within DJ Planning Center. By default, they will only have read-only access to the events assigned to them. However, you can open up their permissions to view all of the company's events along with managing other aspects of your account. The time off page is where you would go to see all of the time off requests for your company in a single location. If you are a multi-op, you can control whether or not requests from your staff members are automatically approved or if you need to manually approve them. Once a staff member submits a time-off request, you will receive an email and a record will populate here. If your settings require you to approve the request, it will show up in the Pending tab for you to either approve or reject. As mentioned earlier, all of these time-off requests also show on the calendar in both the website and mobile app, so you can easily check everyone's availability. The Account tab allows you to update your profile information, change your password, manage your subscription, and update your email notification preferences. As we saw earlier, preferences for push notifications are managed through the mobile app. Moving on, the Setup page is where you can configure all of the settings for your account. I'll walk you through the main ones. Under General Settings, you can set your location, date and time, and financial preferences. Setting your country, date format, and currency will drive how data is formatted throughout the application. Event settings is where you can customize the information that is needed when creating an event. We provide default values for all of these when you first sign in. However, you have the ability to add, edit, or remove items from these lists. The first one is where you will define all of the event types for your company. These will populate as options when creating an event. We went over event stages earlier, so I'll move down to the next few items. We have the concept of event roles, which are used to identify what role a staff member, client, or venue play within an event. For example, you can assign multiple staff members to an event and give them each a specific role, such as DJ or photo booth attendant. The same applies for clients. If you are doing a wedding, you might have roles for each the bride and groom. Venue roles can be used to identify what each venue is used for, such as ceremony or reception if they take place at separate venues. All of these roles are also used to tag specific people or venues when creating contracts. Separate contract variables will be available for each role you define here. Let's move on to the branding page. This is where you would upload your company logo to display in different areas throughout the application. You can also upload a specific logo to be used within the client portal. This one displays in the header of the website instead of the DJ Planning Center logo. Speaking of the client portal, there are a few more customizations you can make on this settings screen. The first option determines whether or not all the staff members that are marked as visible to the client will display in the client portal. If you choose to only show a certain staff member, such as an admin for communication purposes, you can override that here. The last section is where you would customize the list of genres that display on the Preferences tab when clients are selecting music. We realize that some DJs in other countries have very specific genres, so this is helpful to further customize your client's experience. Moving on to the Invoices and Payments screen, this is where you can define a global payment link to be used for all invoices. This can be a link to the payment processor of your choosing, such as PayPal or Square. Adding a link here will give you the option to include a pay button on invoices. When the client clicks on that button, they will be navigated to this link where they can manually enter the payment amount and make a payment. You can also add default notes that will populate in the Notes section when you create an invoice. To create an invoice, you can navigate to an event and click on the Documents tab. Scroll down to Invoices, select the Create Invoice button, and choose the person that will be responsible for the invoice. This dropdown will populate with all the clients that are assigned to the event, or you can choose Other to manually enter someone else. Selecting Continue will take you to the invoice and allow you to update the invoice date, due date, and amount due. Line items will automatically populate based on the services that are assigned to the event. Once an invoice is created, the line items are locked in to prevent the invoice from changing unintentionally. If you have updated the services and need to regenerate the invoice, you can select the Refresh Line Items button to pull in the latest services. This can only be done if the invoice is in the draft status. The drop-down for Amount Due will populate with options for the booking fee, the balance, or a custom amount of your choosing. Selecting the Include Pay button option will allow the client to navigate to the global link we discussed earlier. If you prefer to collect payments manually using cash, check, or Zelle, for example, simply uncheck this box and provide payment details in the Notes section. Once you are good with your changes, select the Next button to preview the invoice. If everything looks good here, you can move on to Send the invoice. You can adjust the subject and message if needed and see a preview on the right. Clicking on the Send Invoice button will send an email to your client. If you prefer to send the link using another form of communication, you can simply copy the link here. When the client views the invoice, they can click the Pay button or download a PDF of the invoice. Once a payment is made, you can record the payment under the Financials tab and mark the invoice as paid. If you need to send a follow-up invoice to collect the balance, simply create a new invoice using the same steps. Each subsequent invoice will include the total payments made and automatically calculate the remaining balance. A new invoicing system that includes payment integration and automation is in the works, so this will all change soon, but this is how the invoices currently work. Let's take a look at calendar settings. This is where you can select the day you would like your calendar to start on, as well as your preference for how time-off requests are approved. DJ Planning Center also supports exporting your events to your personal calendar through iCal. You can create iCal links for different staff members and determine which information will populate in the description of the calendar event. Clicking on Learn More will give you instructions on how to use these links to add your events to a Google or Apple Calendar. Under the Services section, this is where you can manage all of the packages and add-ons your company offers. You can provide details about each package, including a description, price, photo, and what all is included in the package. Some of these fields are used when formatting the information on pricing guides. Add-ons are very similar, however, you have the added option of allowing quantity selection. This gives you the flexibility of offering a lighting package, for example, or charge per light. We are now going to take a look at templates. We have already discussed special event templates, so we'll move on to contract templates. This is a powerful tool that allows you to create contracts for different scenarios and add variables within the contract to automatically populate event data. Clicking the Insert option will allow you to insert either a contract variable or a table that displays the list of services for the event. Dates, company information, clients, staff members, venues, and financial information are all available as contract variables. Looking at the client variables, you can see that there is a list for each client role you define in your settings. This is how you can populate a specific client's information if there are multiple clients. Inserting services will add a placeholder box that will populate when generating a contract for an event. The signature lines will always display by default at the bottom of the document and will dynamically populate with a line for each signer. Once a template is made, creating a contract for an event is super easy. If we go back to the Contracts page and create a new contract, you will enter a name, select the template you created, choose an event, and select a primary signer. Additional signers can be added on the next step if needed. The first page you will see is the template you created. At this point, you can make any modifications and it will only apply to this specific contract. Once everything looks good, select the Next button to preview the contract with all the event data populated. Once you confirm all event data is populated correctly, you have the option to go ahead and sign the contract before you send it to your client. Next, you can draft an email and send the contract to your clients. Each signer will receive a custom link for their signature line. If you prefer to send the link using another method, you can select Get Contract Links to copy them. Email and push notifications will be sent when each client adds a signature, and an email will be sent to everyone when all parties have signed the contract. The next thing we will look at is questionnaires. You can create as many questionnaires as you need depending on the types of events you perform. When creating a questionnaire, you can choose to start from a predefined template or create one from scratch. This is an example of a questionnaire for a wedding reception. Sections can be added to logically group information together. Questions can be added to each section and reordered as needed. Once you are finished building out a questionnaire, you can preview it to see what it will look like to the client. Moving on to workflows, this is where you can set up reminders to take specific actions leading up to an event. For example, you can create a task to initiate a planning meeting 3 weeks before the event, and it will show up in your task list when it's due. For the action types of email or text message, these will not automatically send. However, if you are using the mobile app, you will have the option of tapping on the task and populating an email or text message with the message provided here. Once a workflow is created, it can be selected when creating an event. Automations will be coming in the future that will make these workflows even more powerful. Recommended playlists are pretty straightforward. You can give the playlist a name and select songs by searching Spotify or Apple Music. Once the playlist is created, you can assign it to an item in one of the special event templates we discussed earlier. When a client goes to select music for that specific special event, they will see this recommended playlist to help give them song ideas. The last template we will go over is event templates. This is where everything is put together to make creating events even easier. If you have a standard set of information that you fill out for most of your events, such as event type, assigned staff, packages, questionnaires, and more, this is where you can define your default values. Every field on this form is optional, so you only have to populate the information you need for this specific template. Once it's created, you can select the template when creating an event, and all of these default fields will populate automatically. The final thing I will show you is how to actually create an event now that your account is set up. By going to the Events page and selecting New Event, you can start filling out the information. At the top of the page, you will see the option to apply an event template. As I just mentioned, this is a quick way to pre-populate any default values you have defined to make the process go a little faster. You can select an initial stage and fill out all the basic event details. The lockdown days will determine when your clients no longer have access to make updates to their event. In this example, the client will be able to make changes up until 3 days before their event. When adding a venue, you can specify an event role and assign notes that are specific to this event. Other information is optional, such as venue contact information, website, Wi-Fi passwords, and global notes that are accessible for all events that have this venue assigned. When adding a client, you can also assign a role and provide an optional phone number and address. The permissions section is where you can control what the client has access to within the client portal. For example, if you want to add a client's family member to the event and only give them permissions to view or edit music, you can do that here. You also have the option of immediately sending an invitation to the client when this event is saved, or you can wait to manually send it later if you prefer to have a signed contract first. When assigning a staff member to the event, you can select an event role and add an optional wage. The client portal settings will determine whether or not their information displays to the client. Moving on, you can select packages and add-ons to assign to the event. The default price will populate automatically when you go to add a service. However, you can override the price for this specific event and even apply a discount if needed. In the next section, you can select one of the special event templates you created or a default one that is provided by DJ Planning Center. The next section is where you can add or remove playlists. These will allow your clients to select music outside of the context of your special event template. Removing all of the playlists will remove the entire playlist section from the client side. The last two sections are where you can select a workflow and any questionnaires for the event. Once the event is saved, any of this information can be updated on the event details screen. And there you have it. You have successfully made it through our detailed overview. It's important to note that DJ Planning Center provides a lot of default information out of the box to help you get up and running quickly. However, taking the time to go through each of the items mentioned in this video will help you further customize the software to fit your specific needs. I know this was a lot of information, but I hope this gives you a better understanding of how DJ Planning Center works. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next video.